year. They return a lot from that championship team. 3 All-Americans returning.
They return a lot. Havili, the setter, really makes things go over there. Kelsey Payne, there aren't too many kids like her in the country. And Rigdon on the outside has just been so steady for the Jayhawks over the course of her career.
And on the other side, for the NC State Wolfpack, the second year for head coach Linda Hampton-Keefe. Last year, the Wolfpack got a 20-win season, one of just 5 teams under a first-year head coach to do that. They improved their ACC wins by 8. This is a team on the rise.
For sure, and it's they built a great culture here and a great environment here in Raleigh. And it'll be fun to see them get better as the year goes along. But I expect them to compete hard tonight for sure.
The visitors from Kansas will start Allie Nelson at libero, Kayla Cheadle, Jada Burse, Kelsey Payne, as you mentioned, partner, Taylor Alexander in the middle. The setter is Anise Havili and Madison Rigdon on the outside. For the NC State Wolfpack, they'll start the freshman opposite hitter, Melissa Evans. The setter is Kylie Pickrell, the transfer from Arizona State. Cassie Casper, Mackenzie Kuchmaner is the libero. Julia Brown, the first-team All-ACC outside hitter, paired up with Sarah Conchin also on the outside. Those are the starters for both teams. And I'd say we're just about set to get ready to go here. The 4th meeting all-time between NC State and Kansas. The Jayhawks have a 2-1 record against the Wolfpack. These two teams haven't met since August 30th of 2008. And the 2017 season is underway. Havili.
Great swing. They kept Payne on the left here.
And off the touch.
Great swing by Julia Brown in transition. Kansas has to feel good. The libero stuck the pass in the first ball, but NC State hung in there throughout the rally. Great kill by Brown.
Fitting that the first point of the season for NC State is earned by Julia Brown. Set a school record with 489 kills last season.
Served by Casper.
So the left-handed swing of Melissa Evans. And Brown forced to set there, leads to a free ball. Jayhawks with an opportunity to get on the board. Near side, it's Payne, picked up by the Wolfpack setter. Great energy in this building here tonight, and a nice tip by Kelsey Payne.
2 great rallies to start things off. I think the coaches probably have to feel pretty good getting those 2 rallies under their belt. Great off-speed shot by Payne, though, to mix things up.
First substitution as Jada Burse comes out. Tori Miller will serve it up for the Jayhawks, a 5'8" defensive specialist. Evans' attack is too long, no touch. And the Jayhawks with their first lead.
It's going to be important for Evans to get on track early. She's a freshman starting her first college match.
Serve received by Julia Brown. Now she'll attack. Back line too strong. And a good call, good talk by the Kansas defense.
Just out. Great idea by Brown. She just missed a little bit long.
Tough serve, dug out. Conchin tipped it over. And the point will be scored by Kayla Cheadle.
It's going to be interesting watching the 2 sides. Kansas very steady. They don't have to say a whole lot. NC State's kind of getting their legs a little bit, and it'll be just interesting to see how the match develops. Good deep serve.
Brown will try and salvage an attack out of it. And you can see just how quickly Kansas is able to handle the Wolfpack attack. It was off the net and turn it into a point.
Havili still finds a way to set the middle there, and I think that's something NC State's going to have to do a little bit, is to get the middle involved. Good break in that rotation for NC State. They were struggling to get out of it. Missed serve by Kansas gets them out of it. Let's see if they can capitalize.
The Wolfpack server is the libero, Mackenzie Kuchmaner, redshirt sophomore from Waxhaw, North Carolina. A miscommunication there. Rigdon hits it too hard. And that's the storyline that Kansas is watching. They returned 3 All-Americans, but they lost their All-American libero coming into this season. So Allie Nelson, the sophomore from Chicago, gets her first start.
Yeah, it's going to be important for Nelson to get comfortable right away. She's got some good support around her, but I'm sure that's something Kansas is going to be watching for.
Again, the Wolfpack trying to serve Rigdon, and no one's going to get there.
Kansas has been very effective so far, hitting off-speed shots. Let's see if NC State makes adjustments on that, if Kansas continues to do it. Good rotation here for NC State. Kearney's in the front row. Let's see if they can get the middle involved.
Great serve from Nelson. And that gets a smile out of her. Playing on the road and big shoes to fill, that'll help your confidence a little bit.
Absolutely. Brown's taking a lot of swings early.
And Payne just has to hit it over her head. Pickerel back set.
Great run.
Alexander meeting Kearney in the middle, but it's Kearney who wins out.
Having Kearney in the front row, she's a kid that's used to dominating at the net, both blocking and offensively. I think it'll be important for NC State's passing to settle so that they can get the middle involved a little bit more.
Becky Porter is in to serve. She's a setter for the Wolfpack, and this is something a little bit new for NC State and Linda Hampton-Keith here in her second year.
Right. Porter looks like they're running a little bit of a 6-2, at least in transition right now.
And a big block at the net, Kelsey Payne, the senior.
Julia Brown shouldn't be ashamed getting blocked by Kelsey Payne, though. She does that to a lot of kids around the country. She is just a wall at the net.
The first team All-American from last year serves it over. Julia Brown with another swing, dug out by Miller.
The thing I love about Brown is she keeps swinging.
Outside the antenna, made contact with the net. The Wolfpack takes the point and cuts the Kansas lead to 3. Cassie Casper checks out. And Bree Bailey checking in for the first time. A graduate student, played at Arizona State. I'll tell you more about her in a moment. It's another transfer. This time it's Kansas's Taylor Alexander. She transferred from Ole Miss, making a play in the middle.
Let's see, NC State, Pickerel's at the net setting, so front row setter here in this rotation. Great serve by Rigdon. Looked like a little bit of a topspin serve that time to Rigdon. That broke up the rhythm of floaters, so she hits it well.
Goes with it again. Porter couldn't pass it, kept it over the net. Now she sets Bailey. Miller was there. Out of the back row, Rigdon attacking. Brown trying to track it down. Long rally here. Kansas with a chance. And a kill. Jada Burse knocks it down.
I really like how hard NC State's playing, but Kansas can just beat you in so many ways. You know, they took a couple swings in the back row, and then Burse on the inside set just put it away.
Madison Rigdon, a senior from Pflugerville, Texas. One of those 3 All-Americans we mentioned earlier, and there's a score for Bailey.
Bailey looked to be just keeping the ball in play, trying to keep them alive in the rally. Fell inside the end line.
Cooch Manor out as she rotates into the front row. Sarah Conchin back in, and Caitlin Kearney back to serve. Don't see that many middles that can serve, but she can, and she shows you right there.
She does it really well. I like how she carries herself on the floor. She's comfortable from the end line, and if a middle can score points when they're in the back row, that's absolutely a bonus.
Bailey sets it up nice and high for Burse.
Great touch.
And the defense from NC State, the scramble keeps the point alive. Again, they'll try Burse.
Picked up the off speed that time. That's going to be key.
Bailey trying to drop the hammer. Rigdon answers the other way. Back and forth they go. The outside hitter, Julia Brown, had to set that time. It leads to the miscue. Kansas with a 5-point lead.
Yeah, you don't want to make a mistake setting the ball tight against Kansas. They're just too big at the net. They're strong at the net. They're going to capitalize there.
And a substitution being made as Alexander was ready to serve. She wanted to serve, and Coach Bichard said, hold on a second. Let me get Addison Berry in there.
Yeah, looks like they have a serving specialist going in there. Looks like this is her job.
Serves it to Brown.
Good serve by Berry.
And so the senior from Topeka comes in as a specialist and converts. And Kansas, as we would have expected, I know it's tough to play on the road to open up the season, especially at a Power 5 opponent. But if there's a school that can handle it, a team, it would be this Kansas team with their wealth of experience.
No question. They're rock solid at some important positions on the floor. And again, they're physical enough. You see Havili just getting the ball to the middle. She's spreading the offense out well.
And from one setter to another there, Porter over to Pickrell, pardon me.
Yeah, Pickrell's taking some swings when she's front row, being left-handed. You know, it's a nice advantage for her being at the net.
Timeout, NC State. Kansas has raced out to a 14-7 lead here in set one. We'll be right back from Raleigh. It's loud here inside Reynolds Coliseum. They've got the band rocking. NC State at 8th ranked Kansas, the Jayhawks, with a 14-7 advantage. The head coach of the Wolfpack in her second season is Linda Hampton-Keefe. And what a great first year it was for her to take a team to 20 wins, to take a team that had won just 5 ACC matches. They won 13 last year.
Right. I think Linda did a great job. You know, change is always hard. And new coach comes in. Everybody has different ways of doing things, but she's gotten kids that have bought in. She's brought in some new faces, and as we can see here in Reynolds, the roster is very deep. So she's done a good job, and I anticipate that they'll keep getting better as time goes on.
One of the reasons that NC State might improve a little more than some teams as the season goes along, couple of new pieces. The young lady that just got that kill, Bree Bailey, number 5, and also the one going back to serve, Kylie Pickrell, number 4, both of them transferring from Arizona State, which is, of course, where Coach Hampton-Keefe was before NC State.
There's some familiarity there, and it also helps in Bailey's case for sure. This is her 5th year playing college volleyball, so she adds a veteran element to a team that, you know, that's been in transition. So, and then being able to block a ball like that sure doesn't help, sure doesn't hurt either.
That's really the first time we've seen NC State have a good net presence in this match.
Yeah, this is a good rotation for them. They're big at the pins blocking. Let's see how Kansas gets out of it.
Trying to go to the All-American, but mishit it into the net.
Yeah, I would anticipate Havili trying to run the middle again here, just because NC State is really big on the left side and the right side right now. But Havili's front row, so she tried to get Payne involved in the back row. But I would anticipate them trying to attack out of the middle a little bit more in this rotation.
Pickrell serve not handled well by Rigdon. It ends up being a free ball. In the middle, there's Sarah Conchin.
Great run by Conchin. I'll tell you what, I saw them play a little bit in their preseason, and she just plays really hard. She's a little bit of an undersized middle, but she's going to come after them.
Again, serving Rigdon. Havili bumps it up nicely for Burse. Bailey with an aggressive swing.
Tough ball. Havili tried to take it over on 2, but missed wide. NC State has to feel good after that timeout, coming back and scoring a few straight.
NC State on a 5-0 run. Timeout. Jayhawks will resume play here in just a moment from Reynolds Coliseum. Innovated last season, NC State volleyball opened up this Coliseum. Be interesting to see how Kansas comes back after that timeout. Well, there's kind of the response you would expect.
Yeah, I think Coach Bichard would take the 5-0 run that NC State had coming out of their timeout. But good timeout. Coach Bouchard's been there 20 years, has built a great program at Kansas.
Gooch Manor sets near side to Bailey. Miller's there. And Burse knock it off the block.
That's a veteran swing by Burse. She had a big block in front of her, just took a little bit off of it, went high off the middle blocker's hands to score.
And a service error by Anise Havili, the senior setter. Mike, what stands out to you off the stat sheet so far between these two schools?
Well, earlier on, before the first time out, you look at the sheet, and Kansas is very balanced offensively. Havili's doing a good job spreading the offense out, whereas on NC State's side, Julia Brown was getting the bulk of the swings. And I think their ball control has settled a little bit. They'll be able to distribute the ball a little bit more.
It was a tight pass to the net, and yet Havili was able to set it up nicely. Pickrell bumps it over. Again, tight.
Great save by Havili, tight to the net.
Burse gives it a try, and the Wolfpack were in the net. Conchin is the guilty party. Point Kansas.
Some great rallies early on. Both teams playing very hard. It's not as crisp as the ball handling's not as crisp as it's going to be as the year goes on, but both teams playing really hard. I think it's been good action so far on both sides of the net.
Jada Burse out, Tori Miller back in. The Jayhawks went on a nice run when she served earlier in this set. 17-13 right now. Big swing from the freshman Evans.
Great swing. I like how she plays. I like how she approaches. Good aggressive swing.
Melissa Evans is a freshman from Lone Tree, Colorado, and her sister, twin sister, is also on the team, number 8, Jasmine Evans.
Great read in the back row.
That was Cassie Casper.
Payne with the big swing, missed long. But she is up in the air, hitting it high over the block. But NC State's doing a really good job on her right now. She hasn't had a lot of clean looks so far.
As you say, way over the block. You can see why she's so tough to deal with. Not only can she jump, but she's also 6'3", has elite size to go with elite athleticism.
Exactly. She has to be one of the top athletes in the country.
Nelson just had to get it over. Evans, another swing. There's Havili.
Good ball. Rigdon on the outside, just keeping it in play.
Havili will try. Payne again, and there she is.
That's what makes Kansas so effective, is when you have an experienced setter like Havili with a great right side in Payne. Most teams are just going to throw that ball out to the left side and keep it in play. But instead, Havili settles the action, gets the ball to Payne, and just great sharp cross-court shot from Payne.
You were talking about how Kansas and Havili specifically is able to really distribute the wealth. Having that many options, is that what makes Kansas so difficult to contend with?
They're tough to defend. They're tough to defend. And NC State, I really think they're doing a good job so far. They're hanging in there against them. Kansas is a pretty physical team, but I thought coming into the match, NC State could at least get some touches on the ball. They're doing a great job defensively.
The server is Becky Porter. They are really trying to highlight Rigdon. Payne, did she pick her spot? Yes, she did.
Yeah, they're going at Rigdon pretty often. I'm a little bit surprised, but she's passed some balls behind the 10-foot line, so it's a little bit harder for Havili to run the middle in those situations. NC State's passing has settled down.
Oh, and a great play on the far side. That was Casper again. She's made a difference defensively. Alexander gets a swing in the middle. The net's shaking, and this is going to go the Wolfpack's way.
I think he caught a net on the swing by Alexander. You don't often see it on a swing. It's usually the blocker. So.
Julia Brown, first team All-ACC last year, with a service error in a key moment. This will stretch the Kansas lead back out to 3 points. They relied on her so much last year, almost 500 kills. Yeah. She should have a little more help this season.
Definitely. I think the new kids that came in helped a lot. And I think just being a senior for her just helps. I've always felt that she was a tough competitor, plays really hard, but it will be nice for her to have some help. Great shot by Burse inside the block. There aren't a lot of kids that can hit that shot.
Talk about Kansas's depth. I mean, you have Payne, you have Rigdon, and then Jada Burse able to pull off a shot like that. Not fazed by this road crowd at all. Timeout, NC State, Kansas with a 21-17 advantage. Kansas with a 21-17 advantage, and still a lot of volleyball to be played just in this set. But when the set is over with, we might look back and see that service error by Julia Brown as a key moment.
Yeah, that's a tough one at 17-19. That gives Kansas the 20th point. Then they earn their 21st, and now 4-point deficit this late. We'll see what NC State can do out of the timeout. Great pass.
Carney.
Great run. Both times out of the timeout, NC State has executed very well. So I like their focus coming out of it. They're hanging in there with Kansas, and really good job on their side of the net.
Carney had success serving earlier. Havili sets Payne out of the back row. There's Julia Brown. She'll play all 6 spots. Pickrell attacks with the left hand. Not this time. Rigdon's there. Burse will try again. She's had the hot hand recently for the Jayhawks.
She has. She's a big jumper. She's scored both down the line and cross court, that time going down the line. If NC State can side out here, they'll get and earn this point. In Kansas's current rotation, they got stuck there last time. So hopefully, for NC State's sake, they can get out of this rotation.
Pickrell.
Swing. Now let's see what happens here. In this rotation, Kansas hasn't been able to run the middle, so they've become pretty predictable on the outside. So let's see if NC State can keep them stuck here, get back in it.
And Barry comes out for Nelson and libero. Rigdon with a good first pass. There's Cheadle, and a touch.
Good swing by Cheadle, going high off Bailey's hands.
Kansas has been able to keep NC State at arm's length here.
Exactly.
And the all-everything senior setter to serve. Big point here. Pickrell will try the lefty, Evans. Now it's Bailey. And was it Burse in the net? Yes.
Yeah, net violation. I'll tell you what, Havili, not only is she a great setter, she is a great defender as well. Really plays the whole game.
(23-20) NC State trying to get within 2 again. Casper, the southpaw, sends it over. Havili in position A to set, and there is Burse.
Boy, Burse has carried him through the second half of this first set, swinging from the left and the right.
Yeah, Burse will check out now with by my count, she has 8 kills in this first set.
Yeah, that's been a big key. When one kid can score a third of the points.
Sure.
That's a big-time performance.
Now the Jayhawks look to Tori Miller to earn the set. Coach Banner calls for it. Evans right at about the attack line. There's Havili in the defense you were talking about.
Another dig.
Nelson with the bump set, met by Pickrell. And Kansas just too tall at the net. It was Cheadle along with Payne, and the Jayhawks take set 1, 25-20. Well, a pretty good first set we saw action-wise there. Kansas looked every bit the experienced team that we knew they were coming in.
Yeah, I think the key for Kansas in that first set was they never got flustered. NC State made some great plays and made a couple runs at them, but Kansas just stayed steady throughout. I think that's sort of what we expected coming in.
All right. We've got to take a break. We'll be back with second set action after this.